I'm 15. I like to watch a lot of horror movies, and that developed kind of a paranoia for me, which is bad because if I'm out during nighttime without music to listen, I would panic. I decided to go and grab some pizza because there wasn't anything made for dinner and I'm home alone for the week. The store isn't that far away, but it's not that close either. I put on my headphones and I start listening to music. I try not to pay attention to the darkness around me because I could feel I was starting to get panicked. I bought my pizza and went back to the path I came from, which was quite dark. And then all of a sudden, a girl runs past me, crying, looking really scared, and I started worrying more. When I looked into the direction she was running from, I saw a hooded guy with a knife. My heart instantly felt like it stopped, and I started running the other direction because, as I could see, he wasn't interested in the girl anymore. He was interested in me. So I ran for like a minute to another path which isn't dark, and when I was there everything was good, and I tried to calm myself as quickly as possible. As I was close to my home, I saw him come up around the corner, and God, I never opened my front door faster. Luckily he didn't see me go in my building, so I was thinking to myself, what if the girl didn't run in the direction I was coming from? That thought terrifies me the most. Creepy follower with a knife? That's not me. I was just an infant back in the late 80s when this took place. My mom was in her early 20s and a 110-pound, 5'2" petite woman. She needed to pick some things up at the grocery store late one night, and my dad didn't want to watch me. So she ended up taking me on this shopping trip with her. It was around 8 p.m. and already dark outside. The store was mostly empty, save for a couple other customers and 2 or 3 employees. Mom was going up and down the aisles pretty casually, and after about 4 aisles, I noticed this guy at the end looking at some canned food. At first, she thinks nothing of it, but as she goes down each aisle, she realizes that he's following her. He has no basket and doesn't appear to be buying anything, and every time she glances at him, he's just idly inspecting a product at the other end of the aisle, but always in the same aisle as her. After a few more aisles, when she's clearly almost done shopping, the guy suddenly disappears and she panics. She power walks through the store, looking down every aisle trying to find the guy, and he's nowhere in sight. At checkout, my mom tells the clerk about it and insists a bag boy help her carry her things out to the car. The clerk said she hadn't seen anyone else check out matching the description, but obliges my mom's request. A male employee helped her out to the car. She scanned the lot like crazy, but no sign of the guy. She said she had a gut feeling he was out there in the darkened car watching her, and just seething that she had the presence of mind to ask for help. Glad my mom was so alert, otherwise we might not be here right now. Let's never ever meet creepy possible rapist and murderer. I was inspired to write this after reading these stories for years. This happened about 2 years ago. I was a 24-year-old female and living in a large college town in the Midwest. However, the population is roughly 250,000, and the city isn't really that large compared to other cities. It was a nice place, but very cold in the winter. During this time of my life, I spent a year teaching abroad and came back to finish my last year of school in May. I subletted a room from a good friend with 2 other female roommates and one of their boyfriends. The boyfriend didn't have a key to our apartment, However, someone was usually home when he needed to get in, or he was with his girlfriend since they worked together. One night, during the unusually warm summer, I was sitting around the kitchen with my single roommate. She was dressed to impress, pre-gaming to go out, and ready to have a fantastic night at the bars. On the other hand, I was exhausted and had to work early the next morning. We sat and chatted about our days, the summertime, and enjoying the break from school. My single roommate could handle her alcohol, and I watched her take shot after shot. Eventually, it was time for her to go and time for me to get ready for relaxing. My boyfriend was coming over to watch some TV and hang out, and my roommate drank a few more and left. After a while, he arrived, and we both went to bed. After sleeping soundly, I awoke the next morning and continued my day as usual. However, I received a text from my roommate that her boyfriend couldn't find his marijuana, grinder, or bong. She asked me if I borrowed anything, if it was in my room, and said that she didn't mind if I did. They just wanted to know where it was. I sent back that I had no idea. Until I got home, I didn't really think too much of it. After work that day, I arrived at home and found my single roommate trying to find her weed stuff as well. All of this had apparently disappeared and no one knew where it was. We were all friends, trusted each other, and knew that nobody would steal. We recounted our stories for the night. My boyfriend and I went to my room, my single roommate went out, and my roommate and her boyfriend were at work until roughly 3:30 a.m. the night before everything went missing. My roommate said that she and her boyfriend ate some food and hung out until about 4 a.m. and then tried to sleep. She swears she heard the front door open and close after about 10 minutes since they went into her room. So around 4:10 to 4:15, she shrugged it off and then went to sleep. After rehashing stories, they decided to contact the rental office for security camera footage, since our front door was right in front of a camera, to see what happened. They get in contact with the office and, with some persuasion, get them to look at the footage. The time they see someone go into our apartment is roughly 3:30 a.m. Apparently, since I heard this all from them, a guy wearing a misbuttoned shirt and boxers walked like he was on a mission, as per my roommate's commentary, to our door, opens it, and disappears inside. Then things start to make sense. My roommate going out after having too much? She must have left the door unlocked for the boyfriend, since she doesn't have keys, and the door was usually left unlocked for him if he was working. The open-shut sound of the door, that was him leaving. Our apartment had a bathroom door completely adjacent from the front door. When the lights were off, it was completely dark. It was in the front hallway and not used by my roommate and her boyfriend or me. We figured out he hid in there while my roommate and her boyfriend were home for over a half an hour, waiting for them to go to sleep so he could exit. In the end, the police were called and none of the things were recovered, obviously. My roommates weren't prosecuted for anything due to the general attitude of the city, and that someone with no pants opened our front door and hid out in our apartment for a while. From the timeline, we deduced that he busted in and was looking for stuff to steal, but saw the marijuana and bong and took it all. He was probably in the middle of the act when my roommate and her boyfriend came home, and then decided to hide in our bathroom until they went to bed. He ended up being a resident in our building, living a few floors away. A few times over that summer, he came to our door, pounded on it while crying. He covered our peephole, apologized, and banged on the door until we told him to scram. So remember, always lock your doors. Lord knows if he was just a harmless drunk or some kind of creep. But anyways, Guy in boxers who hid in my bathroom? Let's not meet.